Yo critters, I'm Creature. Have you ever wondered about the afterlife? Will you appear as you were, or perhaps as you see yourself? Please keep this in mind. This video contains discussions of death and self-harm and includes depictions of cartoon gore. And don't hassle people for using text-to-speech, thank you. Ghosts can take many forms in media, from blob little guys, basically just a guy, to beings of immense supernatural power. I have split up ghost depictions into 3 categories: literal, non-literal, and abstract. I have also chosen 3 of my ghost characters to help depict these differences. These characters are Avery, Gregory, and Tom. This is a style exercise with a focus on how my 9 example media depicted their ghosts. With this in mind, I decided on Avery, who is easy to adapt to most styles as they are simplistic, Gregory, who is a child and didn't die as violently, and Tom, who has the most violent death and serves to show the different stylization of gore and the lack of it. This video is centered on other media, but I will talk more about Avery, Gregory, and Tom at the end. Are you ready to discover the mystery of the afterlife? Our first media, Beetlejuice, is a 1988 horror comedy film directed by Tim Burton. Every ghost appears as they were when they died, kind of. Our 2 main characters, Adam and Barbara, appear exactly as they were. I view our main couple as being an outlier because once we go to the afterlife we see so many other ghosts, and they are who I am more interested in. Most ghosts in the waiting room have abnormally colored skin, and although we can see the effects of how they died, like Miss Argentina, Juno, and the diver, none of them are shown realistically. Primarily, Harry the Hunter, the Flat Man, and the Magician's Assistant. Some deaths are exaggerated, but though some have visible insides, i.e. the patient and the Magician Assistant, blood is minimal. It's a good first step into how ghosts can look. In terms of my ghosts, not much about the design changed. Avery has striped sheets. Gregory has deeper eyes and a more fatigued look. Tom just has a slashed shirt with his guts behind it. Very modest for him. Time to get cool. Danny Phantom is an animated superhero TV show that aired on Nickelodeon from 2004 to 2007. The titular Danny Phantom is a superhero who, due to messing with a portal, is half ghost and saves Amity regularly from ghosts from the ghost zone. These actually aren't ghosts as said by Butch Harmon, but I mean, they are close enough for our purposes. The ghosts from the ghost zone are quite different from the human characters as they have technicolor skin and neon eyes. This does not must change our ghosts. Most every ghost we see has some form of a power, as they are superhero antagonists first and foremost. This is in line with how most kids shows will have ghosts have some form of supernatural power, like how in Gravity Falls the lumberjack has this fiery beard and wood powers. Gregory is basically unchanged, but surprisingly there is one basis for a child ghost for him. Named Youngblood, Avery remains pretty unchanged as well, just gaining water powers, and Tom had to have those guts covered up with this stitch pattern. Steven Silver, who is the character designer for Danny Phantom, his style is somewhat tricky to replicate as a line being skewed makes it not look within style. The most important thing to remember if you were trying to replicate the show style to have a straight line against a curved line as seen in the characters' faces. Skeletons. Coco is an animated family film produced by Pixar Animation Studios, directed by Lee Unkrich, co-directed by Adrian Molina. Miguel's family has a ban on music, but he secretly loves it, and while trying to play in the Plaza's Day of the Dead concert ends up in the land of the dead. So, they're not technically ghosts. The afterlife residents are visiting souls on the Day of the Dead. Visiting spirits have been depicted differently and are said to look different from usual ghosts. The visiting dead are often depicted with skeletons, therefore, I think them to be a kind of ghost. Making my ghost skeletons is the biggest change to their design, but their outfits have no real need to change that much. Gregory even has bases, as there can be seen smaller skeleton children. Tom, Avery, and Gregory gained face paint markings and had to be given natural hair colors and eye colors, as that is what is most commonly seen in the afterlife. Fun fact, Gregory is ginger and Avery has gray eyes. Our ghosts are given an orange glow, as that's what their residents are shown when they are visiting the living world. ha ha. The Haunted Mansion is a 2003 supernatural horror comedy directed by Rob Minkoff. The Haunted Mansion is a 2023 supernatural horror comedy directed by Justin Simien. The Haunted Mansion is a dark ride that opened in 1969 at Disneyland and in 1971 at Walt Disney World. The Haunted Mansion has ghosts appearing as they were and even includes how they die, but whether or not their outfits and physical appearance are direct from when they died is a little squishy, as they exist for a ride and not a story. Okay, well, there are two Haunted Mansion movies. They show that the ghost basically appears dressed the same as when they died. I just wanted to draw Avery and Tom in more period clothes. It helps them feel like they are from the Haunted Mansion. They have far less exaggeration in terms of injury, to the point where you can't even tell how someone died. The main difference in being super direct is a lack of blood and their blue hues. The lack of blood or inside makes sense for the family-friendly ride and films. Stylistically, I tried to mimic Mark Davis's concept sketches, as he is responsible for more of the character-based concept art. Gregory gets to keep his Victorian nightshirt. Tom and Avery, however, needed a more historical sense of dress. I have no idea what era their clothing would be from, but Tom has more colonial time trousers and a shirt pulled from an image, and Avery has a Victorian-style cloak with a skirt. Tom upper and lower half just not being attached to each other. See who's like a gag the Haunted Mansion would do, as it implies his death without being gory. This is where all the blood and gore is. I'll put up the time to skip if you would like to skip this section. Ghosts is a British TV first airing in 2019 and its American sister show airing in 2021. Both shows start off with the same premise, excluding minor details. A young married couple inherit a countryside house from a deceased relative and pursue their dream of making a bed and breakfast. After an accident leaves one seeing ghosts in their newly acquired home. As far as art style goes, I had to make my own semi-realistic style, as I couldn't find any concept art of the shows for CBS or BBC. Concept art is what I used to inform the style of my Beetlejuice ghosts. Their ghosts are very literal, looking perpetually like they did at the time of death. Often this can be quite mundane, like if a character died of poison, but if their death is more violent, like an arrow through the neck, car accident, or whatever happened here. Our ghosts do not need to change outfits, as the ghosts from Ghosts are stuck in the clothes they died in. Besides, their skin tones were filled in with the blues and greens as usual, and then I put a color layer of red to make them more flashy. They're all quite pale. I don't know how I feel about that. Legos. In terms of ghosts, I don't have much analysis here. These were for fun and to serve as a break. Legos are only difficult because they are rigid. Tom and Avery are the same height with adult legs, but Gregory has the child's legs. This is how Lego differentiates age, and looking at my minifigures, the as appear to be bigger on the child. This is reflected in Gregory, of course. A fun thing to do was to give them each a prop. Gregory got the clipboard it drew earlier, Avery their cake I made for a short, and Tom a hunting knife. I see no reason you change their colors, as the cast's soft rainbow skin is with Lego colors I'd seen before. All done. But there is a ghost in the Lego movie. He gains this sheet-like piece when he dies. Yeah, I can do that just for you. Okay, now we are done. Boo. Casper the Friendly Ghost. The first movie was in 1945, an animated short created by Famous Studios, and a comic that started in 1950 by Harvey Comics. Casper is a small ghost who doesn't want to scare people. Contrary to other ghosts, Casper tries to befriend the living. Very recognizable, Casper is a traditional white wispy ghost. He's not that far off from a lot of depictions like these guys from the Lonesome Ghost Mickey Mouse short, or the Boo Brothers from Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, or the ghost from Ghost Wanted 1940 predating Casper, or this Spirit Halloween spinning ghost decoration from 2014-2015. You get the idea. In terms of our ghosts, our basis would be Casper's uncles and Casper for the majority. Other characters can offer insight into the stylization of their ghosts. Spooky and Pro are little ghosts like Casper. They are distinguished from Casper through little characteristics like hair or freckles. So, keep our ghosts simple, all white, with only the hinting of clothing. Hee hee. The Ghost and Molly McGee is a supernatural comedy animated show that aired on the Disney Channel from 2020 to 2023. Molly McGee moves with her family to Brighton, but her new home has a ghost named Scratch, who upon curses Molly to be bonded to him, a terrifying ghost for eternity. She views this as an opportunity to have a forever friend. The ghost world is filled with a rainbow of these blobby ghosts. At least in the ghost world they have the waves bottoms, with a few examples of ghosts in the living world having legs. So, Avery gets to have legs. There are no references to how they died in their design. So, Tom just gets his bottom half chopped off. The style was really fun to emulate. Too bad with this sketch style I can't really do the colored outlines. They all keep their skin color but brighter. The Wendell and Wild is a 2022 horror comedy stop-motion animated movie. Cod Elliot summons the two demon brothers Wendell and Wild to the land of living with the promise of her dead parents being resurrected. I did this based on 1 minute of screen time. The opening to the movie shows new spirits being brought to Buffalo Belzer, who has an amusement park on his stomach. These ghosts are very paper-like and floppy. They are blank-looking, similar to those of Hercules' River of Souls. They are more representative of bodies than people, but in this 1 minute, we get a closer look at the individual spirits. They are not identical as the shapes are varied, especially the one I found from concept art by Pablo Lobato. The overlaying of the white means that it's color and less of the sketch lines. The last style, mine. My very own ghost story would be a video game where you play as Avery the Cloaked One and try to figure out Avery's death and the lives of the other ghost residents in the afterlife. Avery has just awoken in the afterlife from a lake after a few decades. They don't know who they are or where they are. Their design is what they were wearing when they died. A set of black pajamas with a pink comforter tied around by a blue rope. Tom is a 21-year-old who died in 1956 on a hunting trip gone wrong. Tom says that he died gutted by the hands of a serial killer, but I don't think you should trust him on that. In the afterlife, he hangs out with his pet bear cub Huckleberry. Gregory is the child. He is 10 and died sometime in the 1880s from a wasting illness. Now, he works for the afterlife, helping others find their way and move on. I did this one first. I wanted to start off easy. I actually am not that confident drawing my ghosts. I don't draw them very often, but I know how they ought to be drawn. You know, Avery hasn't changed much from the initial design. Tom lived in the margins of my homework before he ever got a finished piece. Morbid Curiosity is made up of random OCs that would have otherwise been forgotten. Gregory, Debbie and Abel were all ponies before they became their own characters, my lost ghosts. That concludes this exploration of ghosts and styles. I hope you had a nice time. See you soon, critter.